I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but I'ma just say anyway. So we obviously heard about, well, that little Pokimane clip where she talked about one of her editors, I think it was. So pretty much to keep you up to speed in case you haven't noticed it, but essentially she talked about her past, about an editor that she had where he would be a little bit behind deadlines. And so whenever she was like, yo, why aren't you editing my clips? You know, what's going on with that? Why are you being a little slow with it? He's like, oh, well, and you would think it would be a little bit like the way how you'd explain it, right? He was like, nah, I was kind of feeling myself. You know what I'm going with this, you know what I'm saying? So he would look at her footage and, to himself, and obviously she didn't feel as comfortable with that and then kind of like disassociated with him. But from what I could hear, I think they said that she also still paid him, which was interesting nonetheless. But still, like, I don't know, that's just really extremely gross. You know, I mean, that is for my 2 cents, you know, obviously, but that's extremely gross. And say what you will about her, and obviously I don't like her either, right? From cookies to basically calling people broke N-words, you know, stuff like that happens. And you could be like, yeah, it was 2022, and yeah, I'm gonna leave that in the past, you know, I'm gonna try to give her a good clean slate. But regardless, I still don't think someone like her, even Chima of all people, should be disregarded in such like a weird, grotesque way. Now, we know that since her story had broken out, that, you know, Critical and all them, even my boy Dumpy was talking about this incident, which is ironically where I heard it from. So Critical was talking about, you know, his side of the story, right? About how he could similarly like relate to that a little bit. What it actually was he talked about this gig he had about this boss. This boss had a really ambitious game. Now Critical, being a voice actor or whatever, like, you know, I want to be, decided to take upon this role, and the boss decided to hire him. But as they were kind of conversating and stuff, it felt more of like just two dudes just playing a game rather than, you know, a boss and, you know, a actor. So, you know, what Critical would be like, yo, where are my lines at? He's like, you know, the boss is like, oh, don't worry, you know, I'm gonna get the lines going, I'm gonna get the lines going, and I'm gonna get the lines going, the game's looking pretty good, you know, the game's looking pretty good. And I'm like, okay, are we gonna see something though? That's what Critical's saying. My bad, I said me. I meant to say he, she, me, wombo combo. Tis not a Falco. But look, so Critical's obviously like, you know, oh, I don't like where this is going. I'm just seem like I'm wasting my time, you know, not really looking good picky, right? So Critical, Yeetus delete us, right? But obviously this dude was not a get with the heaters. So he, the game creator, was very upset with this and started messaging, you know, Critical, oh, you know, I'ma jump off the bridge, I'ma end it all. And Critical's like, oh, he's pulling us out, you know. So obviously Critical was not trying to have that whole entire rock being pulled out. So he decided to conversate with that guy some more, and that scummy behind dude decided, oh, you know what, I'm gonna decide to go back to the same way. So he started acting the same way as he normally did. And then Critical said, you know what, I am done with this guy for good. And so kaput, he ends and breaks ties with him. Now, judging by both these two stories, when I'm putting them together, both of them are really tough instances, right? I know, you know, Pokimane's fans were basically like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they talked to her in such a weird way. Meanwhile, I'm sitting over here with my lotion and but look, I just want to re-record this because I felt like that last part was kind of messed up. But no, I don't want to pull a hypocrisy. I obviously do respect her what it is, despite how much she has said in the past. I can see that there's now a more cleaner slate that we can have here. And to her fans, I honestly will let you know that there is a wiki for some toes, and that there is a guy named Production of Cats treats him like a goddamn snack. That's just for y'all. That ain't me. That ain't really my thing. But anyway, I want to simply say this. The legendary critical penguin lover Charlie was able to defeat the game creator Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy, and gone weird and egocentric testicle Pokimane found docile with her fans, able to defeat the creepy editor. And then there's me. And you may be wondering, why are you self-inserting yourself? Well, I look at it like this. I don't care how many numbers that someone has. They could be the president themselves. I feel like some people, actually everybody, has an opinion to say, whether it be valid or not. And so, I'ma tell my story. Even though you may not care or know who I am, this is me, Swag B, guy who loves to play RPGs. And I would go onto Twitch, normally on Fridays and Saturdays at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, to 0 people And you may be thinking I'm gonna sit here and complain. No, but I am gonna simply tell about what had happened in this one instance. So, mainly streaming to, none of these people. I would mainly just play my game and, mind my own business. Until there was one person who, well, I dare not mention, was in my chat and, conversing with me, and we would talk and, make a whole bunch, little goofs about our games that we would play. Until one day he started mainly making a bunch of random racist jokes. I know, right? So original. And he would do this over and over and over again, telling me to go to the cotton fields and, all that stuff and slavery. And I know obviously it was the jokes and jokes, but this jokes didn't look too good when people would actually show up, and it'd be terrible. Now, obviously you could be like, well, why didn't you ban this guy? The more logical thing, right? Well, unlike Critical and Pokimane, this was at a time where I mainly wanted people to see me for me. In an era where so many people are mainly trying to be the top G like Jinxie, Critical, and all the rest of the old Shabukis, you need to stand out. So what better way is it to conversate with these people? Now, obviously this is very toxic and it shouldn't be, plagued upon because, he was a bad guy. So obviously I didn't like this. And you would think, oh, this is probably a one write-off instance. No, I would have to remind him continuously, don't do that, bro, chill out, stuff like that. And then he would be like, bro, it's a joke, just chill. And when you know that your view is trying to have like a dictatorship, that's when I knew, okay, this mother brother thinking that he's gonna do something, bro. He probably like, oh, why didn't you curse? He's always like, why don't you curse? Why don't you curse? Because firstly, I feel like cursing is only mainly used for people who lack the intellect to actually use any other more creative words to come up with. But that's besides the point. So it didn't just stop at streaming. He would go into my Discord that I made, and he would go in there and he would just keep spamming me with many things of react to this, react to that, react to this, react to that. And I'm sitting here like, bro, I don't want to react to Jack Dilly nor Squat. I just want to play Fire Emblem and have a fun time. And then it would continue like this, and then I said, you know what? I'ma just mute him. So I muted him on my Discord, and he just kept trying to bring up this trauma, like, oh my goodness, I'm so sad, Dude, you realize that I am the worst person to go for a therapist. I'd probably be the type of guy that'd be like, oh, you know what? You probably aren't doing that bad. Like, I'm not good with that. I really am not. And so he would bring all that trauma to the chat. I'm like, bro, don't do that, right? So he would just keep trauma dumping and all this stuff. It's just not a good look. Then one day in Discord, he decided to keep continuously messaging me and, pretty much making it seem like I was a bad guy. Being like, oh, I wish you talked to me sooner and all this bad stuff. And then another day, right, the big break was he kept spamming, please talk to me, please talk to me, please talk to me. You're the nicest person I know. Please talk to me, trying to butter me up in order for me to talk to him. And obviously I was not really feeling that. And so I just would ignore it. And then by the end of all the messages, when I went to go read them, he literally said at the end, and I quote, I wish you would have responded sooner, but it seems like you're continuing to ignore me at this point. If you do not see me, then you'll know that I ended it all because of you. And I felt extremely devastated and very sad, knowing the possible fact that I could have ended somebody's life simply because I couldn't talk to them. And at the time, I was mainly dealing with college, editing my videos, drawing, and just creating terrible thumbnails. You get the fettuccine that I'm trying to, lay down on Zimbroli. It was not a good look. However, a few days later, I would get a message, just one random pop-up ping on Discord, and it said, him apologizing, I'm sorry that I did this, I was just getting in the moment, yada, 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 right? And I was like, okay. And then he just went back to the same jokes and stuff that he did. And I say, you know what? I'm not gonna take that anymore, right? I'm not gonna take it anymore. Why should I take that? So one day on a Saturday, me and my family went out to go fishing. And while we were fishing, I was talking to my friend, Fed Els, about this, whole entire poopla. And he had a few choice words to say, but this one mainly stuck out, and I quote from him. Someone as toxic as that will bring the whole mood down for the stream, as you cannot trauma dump in a Twitch streamer's channel because they're not all therapists that can help you with your problems. You gotta block them. Now, end quote. My friend may not be the sharpest knife in the crayon box, grammar-wise. I'm sorry, Mike. Gotta give you the old slug-a-ma-gugga, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna talk you good right here. But he usually means well. He really does. And so by hearing that, I said, you know what? You're right. You know what? He's right. Hey, he's right. I'ma block him. So I blocked him from the stream, and I blocked him from the Twitch. So he had no communication with me whatsoever. And I was relieved. I said, it may be disheartening, but guess what? That's another person I just gotta get out of my face. And then sometime later, one of his friends pops up on one of my streams and is like, yo, I heard that you banned this guy. What happened? And obviously I had to play it cool. Kevin James with his pockets in his hands in his pockets, with the old shrug of the shoulders. Kevin James said, I don't know. I play clueless. I really play clueless. Like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, I didn't know. My bad. And that was the end of the tale of the racial culprit, is what I call it. Now, what can we take from this? Would be a part 1, part 2. So I mainly said that, what I gather from all this is that, you can't really choose, the family you're in, right? But we can choose who we surround ourselves with, right? And people will be weird, villainous, and may have evil intentions. Some people, right? And that we can't control our family, like what I just said. And if there's a person that is, negative, puts you down, or gets you the whole guilt trip vibe, just do yourself a big boy Mugoy favor and disassociate yourself, right? Get them out of there, right? And they may apologize and bribe, or what worse, even threaten their own lives, with just being with you. And if you're not comfortable with them, then these quote unquote threats shouldn't be made just for you to come back. Because if you really feel like they're, a bad position or a bad-esque space, then they should respect you and your decisions in the first place, whoever you title them as, for doing these threats or worse than what I've described. I also learned that being a big whatever, like streamer or whatever, let's say in this case, it does take time. And as long as you're having fun, then there'll always be somebody who will watch your stuff. It really can be hard to, keep going whenever you see people like Jack Doherty, Neon, and, JR be covering over these people and them just easily, successfully rising up to fame just by simply screaming at a camera and doing heinous actions just to get likes, comments, and follows and gets a whole entire bag from it. Whereas people who actually have talent don't actually, prosper because they get shunned down. It's the number privilege of pretty much any platform. It's very unfortunate. But I will simply say, like I said, do what you do and do what you love because, it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Video making, streaming and all that, it shouldn't be looked up as a stressful, thing, because then you're not enjoying it, and that sense of joy and happiness now feels like a job. The place that you don't want to be working with, from a 9 to 5 to, while having people laugh at you for, being on food stamps. Yeah, I felt that. And what I also want to say is, when I look at my favorite creators, right, I mainly, in my head, there are times where like, oh, well, they didn't say that, or Spike, what are you talking about, right? Sometimes I kind of get like this weird, bad fantasy that I obviously try to push myself away from, that I always wish that I would be able to, maybe collab, or at the very least talk to, and possibly be friends with them, maybe go eat some wings or something like that. That'd be really cool, right? And I know to my Wikitubia people, keep this on the down low, but to my Wikitubia people, hey, keep writing your writing. You're always in my favor. If y'all need help, I'll be there. But I love, in my confession, but I love Vixella. I really do, with my whole heart. Like right here in my chest. However, despite her basically being like, really, really into Barbie, right? And me being 5 days younger than Jack Doherty, it doesn't really look good on the paper for me, now does it? And yeah, but I would love to take her to a movie or something like that. Probably watch some Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But that may not happen. Even just a simple friendship may not happen. Not even with Sketch or any of them. It may not happen. I hope it does, and I hope they can one day see, what I do, but it may not happen. However, I will simply say that I am really glad to see their stories, right? Because seeing their success stories and showing people, around here in the, country life in this small town, no disrespect to my hometown, it's just back in the day, right? They would have called this thing pointless and stupid. I'm glad they were finally able to show that you can actually make a living off of this and actually do other things while you're doing it. And my reasoning as to why I probably kind of let this happen, and I more than likely explained this earlier, but I will reiterate again, is that unlike, Critical or Pokimane and all them, yeah, we're small. But also during my college time is that my peers, quote unquote, mainly cared about what I was doing when I mentioned about my peers mainly cared about what I was doing when I mentioned about my donations, and they were all for the idea of money, nothing else about it. And I was mainly like, yeah, just for the money, I guess. But that thought that they had instilled, it just kept lingering and lingering, that the possibility of making it big and having these friends and getting the crown, saving the town, and Mr. Krabs could just be a video away, a title, or even a thumbnail, just something. Yet every single time, without fail, despite literally copying their thing word for word, I would fail and always come short every single time, with people barely watching to the 30-second mark, even noticing my stuff, or even just giving it a flat out dislike. On shorts? Man, I must really suck. And maybe if I'm lucky, I'd probably get a comment out of all that, right? Some engagement. And having all these weights really maybe cave into almost anybody as long as they actually, gave me the stuff, which obviously is not the best. And to those who are watching, I hope that does not happen to you either. Do not make the same mistakes of doing that. Do what you love, and I hope that they can serve you well. All right. Whew. After a long exposition, I have a conclusion. Do what you love, even if it doesn't reap the monetary rewards in the end. You may not make it big, but I hope you can look back and see how much you have improved on where you have started from. Some people will have bad intentions, and if you see this, then leave them, even if they pull life-threatening stunts. And many want to be with the big dogs. And lastly, and I quote from me, I don't know where this has been from, but I say, look up in the sky once in a while. If it looks gray, then at least you'll know that the sun is just behind it. And if it's night, then you just know it won't be night forever. The sun will come up again. Unless it's like 17 billion gajillion years later and then it blows up because it gets too big and then we burn. But we'd be way dead before then. So we kind of good, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I know these types of videos obviously seem really out of place. And I hope to not really get as deep. That's like try to make more like a comedic thing. Being, really serious and heavy down is not really something I like to do. It's mainly only whenever they need to hear is when I actually lock in. But that's pretty much it. If you like these, more of these, I would recommend to obviously, subscribe and, hit the bell so you can have the pelicans alert you whenever the new video pops up. And if you also want to support the channel, I have finally made a Patreon and I plan on uploading those videos early on there. Or if YouTube decides to pull a copyright, then at least it'll be up on a different site, right? And to all those who have stuck for so long to this point in this video, thank you so much for hearing me out. And this is Swagbirdie7, Swag Double G BRO 87, being a one-man band in the country of Tejas, saying to beware and take care. How bad, he's down bad, it's the down bad editor. How bad, he's down bad, this ain't no deceivery editor, I read her. It's the tale of the down